Hey y'all, it's me again. I'm going to be letting you know about my thoughts and opinions about the camps, the Donner Party camps. Um, the camps I'm referring to are the Lake Camp, Alder Camp, and Starved Camp. So, where are we right now? Um, So the Donna Reed Party has been stuck in the mountains since about late October 1846. And then the relief parties start coming in February, um, February of 1847. If you hear some loud sloshing noises, that would be Redward having him a supporter. He's a good boy. So yeah, that's where we are. We are stuck in the mountains. We got two camps currently, relief parties on the way. The two camps are set up like such. The Donner Party, like the proper actual Donner Party, like the Donners, their Teamsters, the Donner's brother, cousins, uncles, all the blood-related Donners and the Teamsters that were actually employed by the Donners are set up in a lake camp. I'm sorry, not a lake camp. They're set up by a creek, Alder Creek. The rest of the majority of the party were set up by Truckee Lake, which is now known as Donner Lake. The rest of the folks were set up in there in some cabins and some lean-tos. So, the two difference in those two camps. I'm going to be covering Starved Camp toward the end because that's more involved with the relief parties. But the two camps. So yeah, there's cannibalism. There's a lot of historians and park rangers and other folks like to kind of not talk about it, and they're like, oh well, we don't know for sure, and just the thought of cannibalism is going to taint this heroic tragic story. No, it doesn't. It's real. I mean, taking away the realness kind of takes away the nobility of it. I mean, there's horror. I mean, it's not all noble stuff and sacrifice and heroes and all that stuff, which is honestly that's part of like the whole manifest destiny trope that is pretty disgusting and contribute to a lot of genocide. So I don't like that for a lot of reasons, but also I think that survival cannibalism it's a hard subject to talk about, but also it's needed to talk about because it's a fact that throughout the animal kingdom, and we as humans are actual animals. We are part of the human the chain of life. We are part of it, and we aren't above it. We aren't below it. We are of it, and so throughout the animal kingdom, there are survival cannibalism. I mean, it just is. It just is. And to deny that is to deny a part of our humanity. And I'm not about denying anybody's humanity. So that's where I'm coming from with this. But to round that all up, there was cannibalism. The Breens, I can't remember his first name, but Breen, Breen. I'll put his info up on the screen. His journal. He kept a journal. He started a journal while he was at the Truckee Lake camp, and he definitely describes cannibalism. He said he describes that it's troubling for him that a lady brought it up to him, so that she came to him one day, and that she was like, you know what? I think I'm going to eat this person that had passed, and I'm hungry, and I think I'm going to eat it. And Breen was like, I'm pretty troubled about that. He wrote that in his journal. He was like, I'm pretty troubled about that. But you know, it happened. It happened. The book that I read, Eliza Donner's book. Eliza was 4 years old at the time. She was George and Tansy Donner's daughter. She was 4, so her account is probably, you know, not the most clear. But her account claims that John Baptiste, who was a Teamster, 16-year-old Teamster that was with the Donner Party, she said that he suggested that they start digging up the dead bodies and eating them, but that even if they wanted to, the bodies were too deep, and that there was no way that they could have eaten the bodies. But the kids were eating. They were eating a lot more than the Truckee Lake kids were eating. And also later on in Starved Camp, the Donner kids were really okay with, you know, okay, you know, we're gonna start eating. All right. It was just kind of like, all right. It wasn't like a shock to them. So that, to me, reading between the lines, I think that the Donner kids at Alder Creek, they did eat of the flesh of the dead. It's not written about, but I think that definitely did happen. So that's kind of like the different narratives from, the Breen Journal is like really clear and very, you know, very matter of fact about it, and, you know, talks about it. Eliza's journal, I didn't read any of the other Donner journals. I know some of the other Donner kids and some of the other folks wrote journals. I have read those. But Eliza's journal, she's definitely she's definitely one of the ones, because a lot of the stories, you know, some of them are like, we closed our eyes and something was happening on the other side of the fire. We didn't see it. We don't know what happened, you know, but there was movement on the other side of the fire and something happened. So they kind of talk around it, which, I don't know. I think that we should be upfront and honest about history and about, you know, what actually happens, so that, you know, we can think about it and, you know, put ourselves into that situation and kind of like maybe avoid some of the things, and, you know, maybe ease some of the tragic things that may or may not happen in our lives. So that's my take on the two separate camps in the past, which were Truckee Lake Camp, which was definitely later on Donner Lake, and then Alder Creek Camp, which were the Donner family. So let's move on to Starved Camp. So there were 4 relief parties. The first 3 took the majority of the people out. The 4th took the last survivor out, which was Louis Keysburg, and I will definitely talk about him in a second. Basically, the relief parties, when they were taking folks back, it was still really rough. I mean, there was still 25 feet worth of snow in the past. It was February. The snow hadn't melted yet. So it was still a really, really rough journey to get people back over the pass. Just for the relief parties to make it back home, it was a journey. In fact, 2 of the relief parties got stuck kind of on the way back, and that they had to make camp because there was a big snowstorm, and they ran out of food, and they ended up calling it Starved Camp. Donner kids were part of that camp. I can't remember. I'll list all the names of all the people that were at that camp. But yeah, this is another instance of cannibalism, survival cannibalism. There was definitely bodies being eaten there. Yeah, and like I said before, the Donner kids were really easy with this, and some of the other people were just like, "All right, well, here we go again." It wasn't at that point. A lot of the people that had been trapped at the lake had already done the deed, so they were like, "All right, here we are." I mean, they didn't like enjoy it, and it was really awful. I mean, they were just stuck. They were stuck. They were freezing. They ended up burning trees and like sinking into the snow. So they were like in a snow cave, trapped with like dead bodies around them, and they couldn't get rid of the dead bodies. And I mean, what are you gonna do? You're sitting there around a fire in a snow cave with like a blizzard going on, trapped in the fucking mountains with dead bodies around you, and you're starving. You're starving. It hurts. It hurts. Everything hurts. You're hungry. What would you do? And what are you gonna be doing? There's choices to be made, and choices were made. I never want to be in that situation. Prevention, my friends, is 99.99999 of the cure. Please, 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 please prevent what you can. And I will be coming out with some other everyday carry and survival videos, things that you can carry around so you're not in situations, or if you are in situations, you can kind of like deal with it in different ways. So yeah, start camp, awful. I think start camp is the worst one for me, honestly, because it's like there were a lot of kids, and this was like a relief party. Two relief parties got stuck because they ran into each other, and like they just got stuck in the storm. And they were trying to save these people, but I mean, and actually it's like when the storm finally died, like up people that could walk, they were like, you know what, fuck these kids, we're gonna leave the kids. There were like 9 kids, and the majority of the adults were like, no, we're just gonna go, we're gonna go home. And this one guy, and I'll list it because I can't remember his name, but I'll list him on the screen. This one guy, he ended up carrying every single kid to safety. He kind of piggybacked. He like took them up a little ways, put them down in the snow, went back, grabbed two more, and took them back over, and he just like carried them over the fucking mountain like that. Fucking respect for that. No, for real though. I mean, because he was at start camp too. He'd been through the horror too, and these people left. They fucking left these kids, and this guy was like, nah. And even the kids were like, hey, aren't we heavy? And the guy was like, you know what? If the only thing keeping me from carrying all you guys at once is my shoulders aren't large enough. If my shoulders were large enough, I'd carry you all at once. That's how light you are. Fuck. That's real. See, that's a hero. Fuck the Donners. I mean, fuck all them fuckers. That guy, hero respect. All right. I got a little emotional there. I'm sorry. I do get emotional about this because it's real. Because these are human beings. This could be you. It could be me. What would I do? I would hope that I could do that. Saved fucking 9 kids. Fucking hero. But let's talk about somebody that's not a hero. Maybe not the biggest villain, but not the hero, and that would be Keysburg. Reason why Keysburg wasn't at Starved Camp is because he had a hurt foot, and he was like, you know what, I'm not going to be able to make it over the mountain, I'll just stay for the last relief. So he was stuck there alone at Truckee Lake for X amount of time with all these dead bodies. All these dead bodies. Oh, one funny thing about Keysburg. So you remember my last video, I was talking a lot about William Eddies and William Foster and how they got into it. Well, both of them ended up getting into the third relief party to go back because their kids were still over in the in the lake. They didn't know that all their kids had died, and unfortunately, Keysburg had eaten them. Yeah, Keysburg ate William Eddy's son, and William Eddy's killed Keysburg. He had to be pulled off him. He had to be pulled away from him bodily. But he told Keysburg that if he ever saw him again, he would kill him. He would kill him for eating his son. I don't blame him. I don't blame him. Not a bit. Not a bit. He didn't end up killing him. Yeah, I think he made a point of avoiding him forever and never seeing him again. I think that was a good idea on Eddie's part. But Eddie's was part of the third relief, and Eddie's did end up. He was actually at Starved Camp too. Eddie's ended up at Starved Camp as well. So Eddie's had to go through another bout of horror after all that. So Keysburg, yeah, this guy. I'm so tired. You know, it took a lot out of me actually. Keysburg, god dang. So yeah, when he was found, this guy had a whole setup. He had bodies on the fucking walls. He had like body parts in buckets. He had like roast in the oven. He was set up. He wasn't starving. Keysburg was not starving. Keysburg was surviving. He wasn't starving. He was not starving. Was he the biggest villain in the world? Did he steal the Donner's money? Maybe. I don't know. I mean, there's whole documentaries on Keysburg about how evil he was, about how he was like enjoyed it, how he like was just like. I mean, we all need a villain, right? We all need a bad guy because we don't want to talk about what actually happened. We don't want to talk about the survival cannibalism. We want to talk about the evil, maniacal guy that had a taste for it, that wanted it, that enjoyed it. I don't know if he enjoyed it. He always said he detested him. He said he was disgusted. He said he was thoroughly disgusted with it, and he was like so angry and sad that the world has like vilified him. He did end up losing his daughter. He ended up losing his kid, and actually he found her on the way back. He was sitting there, and he started playing with a little piece of cloth on the ground, and it turned out to be his little girl. Awful, he had a hard life. He later on had some disabled daughters that were like thoroughly disabled, like to the point where they were having fits, epilepsy, all this stuff, and he had to take care of them. I don't know about all that, but he didn't have a good life after all this. He didn't have a good one. But he was the last one out. They found him Well, they didn't find him at first because he was kind of hiding. Because he went down to the Alder Creek camp and grabbed the Donner's gold or silver and like buried it. I don't know. I don't know. He claims they buried it because the Donners had asked him to give it to their kids. Maybe. It did end up getting to the kids, so. Or some of it did. Some of it did. Not all of it. Some of it was like claimed by the relief party, the fourth relief party. So yeah. Wow. Those are the 3 camps: survival cannibalism. Then the Donner Party. I'm done. That's it. I'm done with the Donner Party. Damn. Thank you for staying with me. Thank you for listening. If you like this, share, like, comment, subscribe. Let me know what you think. Let me know if you want to know more about this. I'm kind of done with the Donners, honestly. I've books, I've read stuff, I've seen pictures, I thought about it, I dreamt about it. I want to take a break. But if you enjoyed it, awesome. I enjoyed it. I do enjoy making these videos. So yeah, thank you.